Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln Wheat Penny coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1, where old coins reveal big secrets, and today we're diving deep into one of the most iconic and mysterious pennies in American history. You've probably seen a Lincoln Wheat Penny before. Maybe it passed through your hands without a second glance, or maybe you found one in an old coin jar at your grandparents' house. But what if I told you that one particular penny from the year 1937, yes, a simple, copper-colored coin from almost a century ago, could actually be worth a life-changing amount of money? That's right. Today we're uncovering the fascinating story behind the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This isn't just any coin. It's a piece of American history, forged in a time of recovery, resilience, and transition. And if you're lucky enough to have the right one, let's just say you might want to put it in a safe. Let's start by setting the stage. The year is 1937. America is still climbing out of the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt is president. Gas is just 10 cents a gallon. And the U.S. Mint is producing one of the most widely circulated coins in the country, the Lincoln cent, featuring the wheat ears reverse design. Now, these pennies may have been small in size, but they carried a lot of meaning. The obverse of the coin, designed by Victor David Brenner, features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln. This was the first time a real American person, not a symbolic figure, had ever appeared on a U.S. coin. It was a powerful message of leadership, honesty, and strength during tough times. Flip the coin over, and you'll see two simple but elegant wheat stalks on either side of the words 1 cent and United States of America. This was more than just a design, it was a tribute to the American working class and the country's agricultural roots. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. The 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced in 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, marked with a small d, and San Francisco, with an S. Each mint struck millions of pennies that year, which makes this coin seem pretty common at first glance. But don't be fooled, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. While most 1937 wheat pennies are only worth a few cents or maybe a few dollars, a very small number of them have something special, something rare. And when you're dealing with coins, rarity is everything. So what exactly makes a 1937 penny valuable? First and foremost, condition. Most pennies from the 1930s were heavily used. They've been passed around, dropped, scratched, rubbed, and faded over time. But a select few have survived in what collectors call mint state condition. That means they were never circulated. They were carefully stored away, untouched by time, with all their original details sharp and intact. These uncirculated specimens are stunning. The lines in Lincoln's jacket are crisp. His facial features are clear. The wheat stalks on the back stand tall with every detail visible. And the luster, that original shiny glow, is still present. These are the coins that catch a collector's eye instantly, but there's more. Some 1937 wheat pennies have minting errors, and that's where things get exciting. We're talking about double die obverse, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and other accidental oddities that slip through quality control. These imperfections make the coin unique, literally one of a kind, and that makes collectors go wild. Imagine finding a penny with a date that looks slightly doubled, or a mint mark that was struck twice, or even a coin that's missing part of the design because it was misaligned during production. These are the kinds of features that can launch a coin from interesting to insanely valuable. And then there's the magic of grading. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale by professional services like PCGS and NGC. A 1937 penny graded mint state 60 is nice. But one graded mint state 67 or 68? That's a whole different league, one where serious collectors start pulling out their checkbooks. So now the big question: how much can one of these rare 1937 Lincoln Wheat Pennies actually be worth? Well, most are still just pocket change. But once in a while, a remarkable specimen shows up. It might be in pristine, untouched condition. It might have a rare error. Or it might be one of the finest known examples of its kind. And when that happens, prices skyrocket, and here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. A rare, high-grade 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny has sold at auction for as much as $55,000. And the most exceptional examples, those few coins that combine flawless condition with extraordinary rarity, have fetched up to an astonishing $125,000. Yes, that's right. 1 penny. 1 cent worth more than some luxury sports cars. More than a college tuition. More than some people earn in a year. So if you're a collector, a treasure hunter, or just someone with an old coin jar tucked away in the back of a closet, now's the time to take a closer look. That little copper coin from 1937 might be more valuable than you ever imagined. Coin number 2, where we dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and collectible currency you might just have lying around the house. Today's story takes us to a coin that has captured the attention of collectors for decades, a small, humble penny with a big surprise. We're talking about the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Yes, it's just 1 cent in face value, but if you've got the right one, it could be worth a small fortune. So grab a magnifying glass, maybe even check that old coin jar in your attic, because this little copper coin from the mid-1940s might just be your golden ticket. Stick with me until the end of this video, because you're going to want to hear just how much some of these pennies have sold for. To truly understand the significance of the 1945 Wheat Penny, we need to take a quick journey back in time, specifically to the final months of World War II. The world was changing rapidly. Soldiers were returning home, industry was booming again, and the United States Mint was operating at full speed, producing coins to fuel the post-war economy. In 1945 alone, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. These coins featured the classic design introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, the first real person to ever appear on a U.S. coin. On the front, or obverse, you see Lincoln's distinguished profile. On the back, the coin features 2 wheat stalks curving along each side, giving the series its famous name, the Wheat Penny. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most people assume that because the 1945 penny was produced in such large quantities, it couldn't possibly be rare or valuable. And for the most part, they'd be right. The vast majority of 1945 Wheat pennies are worth just a few cents, maybe a couple of dollars if they're in decent condition, but every rule has its exception, and the 1945 is no different. There are a few special specimens of this penny that have become the stuff of legend in the numismatic world. These are coins that, against all odds, have survived for nearly 80 years in absolutely pristine condition. We're talking about pennies that look like they were just minted yesterday, no scratches, no discoloration, no signs of wear. These coins are known as being in mint state, and they are incredibly rare. Even more exciting, a handful of 1945 Wheat pennies have surfaced over the years with striking anomalies, what collectors call mint errors. These could include things like double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet errors. These kinds of minting mistakes are very rare and can make a coin exponentially more valuable. Imagine finding a penny with a doubled image, or one that was struck just slightly off-center, giving it a unique shape or shadow effect. These oddities might seem like imperfections to the average person, but to a coin collector? They're gold. Another factor that drives up the value of a 1945 penny is its grade. Coins are professionally graded on a 70-point scale, with a grade of 60 and above considered mint state. But there's a big difference between a mint state 60 and a mint state 67 or 68. That gap in grade can mean thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars in value. So what does this all mean for you? If you've got a 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny tucked away somewhere, it might be time to take a closer look. Flip it over. Check the detail on Lincoln's coat, the sharpness of the wheat stalks, and the brightness of the coin's surface. Is there a mint mark D just below the date? Is it free from major scratches, wear, or damage? If your coin checks all these boxes, it could be time to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade, uncirculated, or error 1945 Wheat penny could be worth far more than you'd ever imagine. Now, let's talk about what you've been waiting for, the value. Believe it or not, some of the finest examples of the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny have sold at auction for an incredible $48,000. And if you're one of the extremely lucky few who happen to own a nearly flawless version with a unique error or ultra-high grade, the price can climb even higher. One such coin stunned collectors by selling for an unbelievable $118,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, struck in 1945, with the right features and the right condition, has sold for more than $118,000. So the next time you find an old coin at the bottom of a drawer or buried in a coin roll, don't be too quick to pass it off as worthless. That tiny copper disc might just hold a secret, one that could change your life. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more treasure hunting stories, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you never miss our next discovery. We've got a ton of exciting coins to explore, and you never know which one might be your next lucky find. Coin number 3, where forgotten coins become prized possessions, and where small change can lead to big surprises. Today, we're taking a close look at a coin that many people overlook, a coin so common looking, it might just be hiding in your pocket or buried in an old jar in your garage. We're talking about the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it's just another old copper penny. You've probably seen dozens of them, maybe even thrown a few in a fountain or passed one without a second thought. But here's the twist, some of these coins are hiding secrets. Some are rare, beautiful, and, in very specific cases, extremely valuable. So if you've ever wondered whether that old wheat penny in your drawer could be worth more than just 1 cent, you'll want to stick around. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and just how much a rare 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny could be worth. Let's go back in time for a moment. The year is 1950. America is booming. The post-war economy is alive with energy. Families are moving into new homes, cars are rolling off the production lines, and television is just starting to become part of everyday life. In the middle of this exciting time, the U.S. Mint was hard at work, producing one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Lincoln Wheat Cent. Now, the Lincoln Cent was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it was a major shift in American coin design. The front, or obverse, features a detailed portrait of President Lincoln. The back, or reverse, is simple yet powerful, 2 stalks of wheat surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. That design gave the coin its famous nickname, the Wheat Penny. In 1950, these pennies were minted in 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can identify the mint by looking just below the date. If there's a small d, it was minted in Denver. An S means San Francisco. And if there's no letter at all, it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Most 1950 wheat pennies aren't rare. In fact, hundreds of millions were made. They were used every single day for candy, bus fares, lunch counters, newspapers. But over time, as new designs replaced the wheat penny in 1959, these coins started disappearing from circulation. Today, most that remain are worn, scratched, and dull from decades of use, but every once in a while, one survives in perfect condition. A few of these coins were never circulated. Maybe they were saved in rolls by a collector. Maybe someone tucked one away in a drawer and forgot about it. These coins, called uncirculated or mint state, have retained their original shine, their fine details, and their full luster. They're crisp. They're clean. And they're incredibly rare. Even rarer are the 1950 pennies with mint errors, accidental mistakes made during the minting process. These can include double die errors, where the image is struck twice and appears slightly doubled. Or off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't aligned properly during minting. Or repunched mint marks, where the little D or S was stamped more than once. These errors turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. They're unique. They're unusual. And collectors will pay a premium to own them. Of course, rarity alone isn't enough. The coin also needs to be in excellent condition. That's why professional grading is so important. Companies like PCGS and NGC grade coins on a 70-point scale. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A 1950 penny graded MS-60 might be worth a few bucks. But an MS-67? That's where things get exciting, and there's one more piece of the puzzle: supply and demand. While millions of 1950 wheat pennies were minted, very few have survived in high grades. And among those that have, only a tiny number feature errors or unique characteristics. That's what drives prices up: scarcity plus demand. So now comes the million-dollar question, or should I say, the 1 penny question: just how much can one of these 1950 wheat pennies be worth? Well, most are worth just a few cents. But if you have a flawless specimen, perfectly preserved, professionally graded at a top-tier level, or containing a rare error, then hold on tight, because your penny could be worth far more than its weight in copper. In fact, the most valuable 1950 wheat pennies known to collectors have sold for as much as $40,000. And in the rarest, most pristine, most desirable cases, such as coins with exceptional errors or nearly perfect mint-state grades, the value has soared even higher. The highest known examples have been auctioned for a staggering $113,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1950, worth more than $113,000. So before you brush aside that old change or spend your coin collection at face value, take a closer look. You could be holding history. You could be holding art. And just maybe, you could be holding a fortune. Coin number 4. Where we dive into the stories behind some of the most fascinating coins ever minted. Today, we're turning our attention to a small but mighty piece of American history that could be hiding right under your nose, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, if you've ever emptied out a jar of old pennies or sifted through a box of vintage coins from a relative, you might have come across a brown, slightly worn penny from the 1950s and thought nothing of it. But let me tell you something, not all pennies are created equal, and the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny is proof of that. What seems like an ordinary 1-cent coin might just be a golden ticket in disguise. Before we get into the jaw-dropping value this coin can fetch today, let's rewind the clock and explore how this penny came to be, why it stands out from the rest, and what features make it so incredibly desirable among serious collectors. The story of the Lincoln Wheat Penny begins way back in 1909, when it replaced the Indian head cent and introduced a brand new design to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this was the very first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and who better than the great emancipator himself? Fast forward to 1953, America was in the post-war boom. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, families were buying their first television sets, and the Cold War was quietly intensifying. It was a time of optimism, economic expansion, and cultural change. During this transformative period, the U.S. Mint continued producing the beloved Lincoln Wheat Penny. But something interesting happened that year. In 1953, these pennies were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While millions of these coins were produced, only a tiny fraction of them have survived in top-tier condition, and even fewer contain the rare qualities that can make a single penny worth tens of thousands of dollars today. Let's talk about the design. On the obverse, the front of the coin, you'll see Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty to his left and the date 1953 stamped clearly to his right. Depending on where the coin was minted, you may also see a small letter beneath the date, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all for Philadelphia. Turn the coin over and you'll find 2 wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. That's why these coins are affectionately known as wheat pennies. At the top, you'll also see the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. Now, at first glance, it's easy to assume this coin is just like any other old penny. But that's where the fun begins, because what makes the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny so fascinating is what can't be seen right away. It's all about the condition, rarity, and hidden minting errors. Let's break it down. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. A 1953 penny that has been heavily circulated, worn, or damaged isn't likely to be worth more than a few cents. But when you find one that is in mint state, what collectors call uncirculated, the game changes entirely. These are the coins that still gleam with their original luster, showing no signs of wear even after decades in existence. They are the jewels of any collection, but it doesn't stop there. There are also coins with rare minting errors, and this is where things get really exciting. Some 1953 pennies may show doubling in the date or lettering. Others might have been struck slightly off-center, or contain die cracks, clipped planchets, or even differences in the metal composition. These kinds of flaws are mistakes, but to collectors, they're rare treasures that increase the value significantly. And then there's the matter of low survival rates and pristine condition. While millions of these coins were made, very few were saved right out of circulation. Most were used in daily life, bought groceries, rode buses, or sat forgotten in drawers. So finding one today that looks like it just came off the mint press? That's no small feat. It's rare, it's desirable, and it's exactly what collectors are dreaming of. You might be wondering, how does a penny, something that was literally worth just 1 cent, turn into a prized collectible worth serious money? It's all about supply and demand. As more collectors enter the hobby and search for that perfect piece to complete their sets, coins in excellent condition become harder to find and more valuable. The rarer the condition, the higher the price tag. And when a coin checks all the boxes: age, condition, rarity, and a story to tell, it becomes a hot item in auctions and private sales. People across the world are scouring coin shops, estate sales, flea markets, and their grandparents' coin jars hoping to stumble upon one of these elusive finds. And here's the kicker: many of them are still out there. sitting unnoticed in collections, coin folders, or shoeboxes of junk change. That means your chances of discovering one might be better than you think now, the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much could one of these 1953 Lincoln Wheat Pennies be worth today, if you happen to own one of these extraordinary coins in perfect, uncirculated condition, especially with a rare mint error or unique striking characteristic? It could command a value ranging anywhere from $38,000 to $105,000. That's right, what was once worth a single cent could now be worth more than some people's entire car, or even more than a year's salary. It just goes to show that history, art, and a bit of luck can come together to create something truly valuable. So the next time you come across an old penny, don't brush it aside. Take a closer look. That small copper coin in your pocket could be the key to a life-changing discovery. And if you think you found something special, always get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. They'll be able to tell you exactly what you have and what it might be worth. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a discovery like this. There are thousands of coins out there just waiting to be uncovered, and who knows, maybe the next one is already in your hands. Coin number 5, where we uncover the hidden stories, secrets, and surprises behind some of the most incredible coins in the world. If you've ever sifted through an old coin jar, dug through a family heirloom box, or browsed a flea market table full of vintage change, then you might have come across a humble-looking penny from 1957. But don't let its small size or copper color fool you. Today, we're diving deep into the history and mystery of the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it might look like your average old coin, the kind you'd find stuck between couch cushions or tossed into a fountain. But under the right conditions, with the right features, this little penny could be worth a small fortune. Let's rewind the clock and step back into the year 1957. America was booming. The post-war economy was strong, Elvis Presley was climbing the charts, and the first satellite was about to launch into orbit. It was an age of big dreams, shiny Cadillacs, and a strong sense of national pride. And during this time, the United States Mint continued its long tradition of producing the iconic Lincoln Wheat Penny, one of the most beloved and recognizable coins in American history. This design had been in circulation since 1909, created to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. With his dignified profile on the front and those classic wheat stalks on the back, this coin became a staple in every American's pocket for decades. And even though millions of these pennies were made in the 1950s, not all of them were created equal, especially not the ones from 1957. Now, let's take a closer look at the coin itself. On the obverse side, you'll see Lincoln's profile facing right, with the word Liberty to the left and the date 1957 stamped clearly on the right. Just below the date, you may also notice a small letter, either a D for Denver or no letter at all, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted with the elegant simplicity of the wheat ears wrapping around the bold words 1 cent and United States of America, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum above, meaning out of many, one. Now, what makes this coin from 1957 so special? After all, the mint produced hundreds of millions of these pennies that year. Here's the twist: while most of them are common and found in loose change or coin collections everywhere, there are a few very rare examples that stand out, and those are the ones we're talking about today. The value of a coin like this all comes down to a few important factors: condition, rarity, and errors. Let's start with condition. In the world of numismatics, which is just a fancy word for coin collecting, condition is king. Most pennies from 1957 have been through decades of wear and tear. They've passed through countless hands, sat in change drawers, and rattled around in pockets for years. But a select few were never used, carefully stored away, untouched by time. These are known as mint state or uncirculated coins, and they still shine with the luster of the day they were struck. Next, we have rarity. While 1957 might not sound like an ancient year, very few of these coins have survived in pristine, untouched condition. And fewer still have been professionally graded at the highest levels. That's where value skyrockets, but perhaps the most exciting aspect of this coin lies in the mysterious world of minting errors. Imagine a penny that was struck off-center, or one where the date appears twice, slightly shifted and overlapping. Or a coin that was created using the wrong metal composition. These are called error coins, and collectors go absolutely wild for them. Why? Because these errors are accidental. They're one of a kind. They were never meant to exist, which makes them incredibly rare, and rarity is the name of the game. There have been reports of 1957 Lincoln Wheat Pennies showing signs of doubling, where the letters or numbers appear to have been stamped twice or struck on planchets meant for other coins. Sometimes it's a minor detail that only a trained eye can catch, but once verified by a professional grading service, those details can make the difference between a penny and a treasure. Imagine finding one of these in your own collection, a shiny, nearly perfect 1957 wheat penny with a hidden mint error. It could be resting quietly in a dusty coin album, tucked away in a forgotten shoebox, or mixed in with pocket change that's been overlooked for years. And here's where things get truly exciting. If you're lucky enough to own a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare, verified minting error, then that tiny copper coin might be worth somewhere between $25,000 and $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin worth just 1 cent when it was minted could now fetch enough to buy a luxury car, pay off college tuition, or even put a serious dent in a mortgage. It's an incredible reminder of how history, craftsmanship, and a little bit of luck can turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. So the next time you're going through some spare change, don't ignore that old penny, especially one from 1957. Take a closer look, examine its condition, check for unusual details, and if you think you've got something special, get it graded and authenticated by a professional. You never know, you could be holding a small piece of American history that's worth a fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another hidden treasure. We've got more rare coins, valuable finds, and fascinating stories coming your way. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting and happy collecting.